Hey, hi, what's up? Hello, welcome to another video. Thanks for coming back and watching, and if you just happen to stumble upon this video and this is the first video that you're watching, I am happy that you're here, and yeah, we are just gonna get into it today. So, I'm looking a little bit like an egg, but that's okay. I'm about to go to a Burn Body Bootcamp class at 8 a.m. and it's like 7:30, so I still have some time because it's only like literally 2 minutes away, but I am going to talk to y'all about the different stages that I have just currently been through in terms of my fitness journey and in order to get myself back on stage. So getting myself back on stage is like my big long-term goal, and there have been like steps that I have to take, and there are more steps that I have to take in order for me to accomplish that and crush it, you know? So we're gonna talk about all of that later, just the difference in protocols, the difference in my mindset, how it feels to go from a cutting stage to a growing phase, and my like anticipation to go back into a cutting phase, which is gonna be prep, which I haven't done in about 3.5 years, so should be interesting. But yeah, that is the game plan for this morning. I'm gonna go downstairs and have a little something to eat because I am kind of hungry, but I don't want a lot because this is a cardio class. And I'm a little nervous, I'm not gonna lie. I haven't done any. I mean, I've barely done cardio period, like even steady state, so you know that I have not done any high intensity cardio as of late. Literally, I don't even remember the last time. It's probably back in like April. So this should be interesting. I'll probably die, but that's also why I don't want a lot of stuff in my stomach, because I just don't want to throw up. I don't really throw up that often, slash I don't think I would throw up from working out. That's never happened to me, but I'm a little fearful, so just gonna play it safe, and I'm gonna take you guys along the day with me. But anywho, oh, my arm's getting tired. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you in a minute. Okay, so we finished our workout for the day. It is a rest day for me in terms of like my typical programming that I have, but I don't know, I just like woke up, I wanted to sweat and I wanted to like go and just like start my day, so that is what I did. And honestly, it really wasn't that bad. It's 45 minutes and there were like 6 stations, and you would do one exercise for a minute, and then there was like a little like 30-second like as many reps as fast as possible little thing, and then you would like switch stations, and then we ran around twice, and literally no breaks. Like, they don't give you breaks, you just keep going, so it's kind of like go at your own pace, which I hate, because if it's just like go, 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 like I'm just like, oh, okay, like go, go, go. I don't know, I just like don't, I don't let myself stop. I was super sweaty, and it really felt good. I actually feel really good right now. So, you know, if you're watching this and you're just like sitting at home and you haven't, you know, gone to the gym and you're procrastinating your workout and watching me instead, dude, go and get ready for the gym. Bring me with you and go crush your workout. I promise you'll feel 10 times better. But yeah, so before I left the house, I made a bagel, like a little egg sandwich on a bagel, and I only ate half of it, so I have the other half with me. And I am going to go to this little coffee shop right behind me and do some work on my computer. Edit up a full day of eating YouTube video, and I forgot my computer charger, so I'm only gonna stay here for as long as my computer says charge, and then I have to run to the grocery store like real quick because we have 0 food in our house, and yeah, and then I'm gonna go home, eat, and that's kind of that. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm supposed to get my nails done with my friend, so I don't know what time. I mean, it's only 9 o'clock in the morning right now, so I doubt we're going anytime soon, but that's also on the agenda. And yeah, so that's the GP. I will catch you guys when I am probably home from the grocery store. I don't know, we'll see. Unless I have something to tell you, then I will, but yeah. what is my hair doing? I don't know, but I really want to show you guys how cute this place is. It's called the Bean and Biscuit Cafe, but I feel kind of awkward with my camera. So let's see. There's my little setup, and this is just like a little room off to the side. I think it's so freaking cute. There's like this little fireplace, and this is gonna be kind of awkward, but it's just mad cute, right? Okay, we are zoomed. We are zoomed. We are so, well, we're zooming the wrong way. Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna go order like an iced coffee, I suppose, and get to work. Hey, what's up? Hello again. So now, my friends, the moment that you've all been waiting for in this video. I'm just kidding. But we are going to talk about the transition from a cutting phase to a reverse diet / growing phase, and I'm going to go in depth about the protocols that I was personally following. I'm going to give you those macro breakdowns I was following, and as we get closer to where I started to reverse, I will give you, you know, the amounts that my coach increased me by, the reasoning behind it, and I'll dive into, you know, how I felt, you know, going from a much lower body weight and body fat percentage to where I'm at right now. And the weight gain I experienced, the, you know, thoughts that I kind of had to battle, how I got myself through it, and how I am able to feel freaking confident every single day in my body, whether I was cutting and or now growing. So I'm super excited, and I think this is just gonna shed some light on the topic because, you know, on social media, the things that get more engagement and more likes, views, comments, etc. is fat loss, because I really don't know why, but people are just very into it, you know? My camera right now, okay. Sorry, I had to re-angle my camera, but like I was saying, you know, I feel like fat loss is what gets you the engagement, you know, that you want on social media. People just go nuts over it. People love seeing people shredded. People love seeing people with abs and defined legs and arms and backs and freaking everything, you know? But you can't be in a cutting phase forever. And sometimes your cutting phase can't even be as long as you actually want it to be. And you might not be able to reach, you know, your end goal in just one cutting phase, you know? So we're gonna talk about a lot of stuff. So I hope you got some cardio to do. I hope you're just like chilling, drinking some coffee if it's in the morning, I don't know. But here we go. So I made little notes, so we're about to get really into it. All right, so where do we start? I'll give you a little bit of a background, and then you know, we'll dive into all the good stuff. So in January of this year, I reached out to Alex Bush, who is still my training coach, and I had reached out to him because I just needed a lot more direction in the gym and with my workouts. I was creating tons of workout plans for my clients, and I was doing it so much that I would literally get to the gym for my own workout and just be like brain dead, like, what am I supposed to do? What exercises can I do? Like, it was just miserable, and I wasn't having fun in the gym anymore at all, to be honest. I literally like didn't even want to go. I was like dragging myself there. And I also knew that I wanted to get some more muscle mass on myself. You know, I wanted to feel strong again. And so I reached out to Alex. We started working together, and he was just doing my training. I had nobody helping me or, you know, keeping me accountable with my nutrition. It was kind of all up to me. And I thought that, you know, with at least having a more structured training program and having more direction in the gym and like, you know, kind of like buckling myself down that way, that I wouldn't really need so much help in terms of keeping myself accountable with my nutrition. I just thought that it would come kind of naturally to me, you know? But if you don't know, I have been intuitively eating pretty much literally after my last competition, which was April 2016. So I started to intuitively eat in like the middle of 2016, all of 17, all of 18, and then in the beginning of this year, 19, I wanted to start tracking my macros again. That's a whole other video talking about tracking macros to intuitive eating, back to macros. Like that could be a whole other video, so let me know if you want one of those. I will happily make one. Holding myself accountable with nutrition really didn't go too well because, you know, it was just like, you know, okay, I'm a little bit over my carbs today. I'll just like take some of my carbs out from my day tomorrow, and then the day would come and I wouldn't do that, and I was just like all over the place. I would track like maybe 3 days a week, if that. It was just, it wasn't working. And plus, you know, moving, that happened, it really just was not working. So come the beginning of April, you know, I had been in my new home here in North Carolina for a month already, and I was like, you know what, now's the time. I feel a little bit more settled in. I need someone to help me with my nutrition. And the thoughts of competing were slowly starting to kind of trickle into my head again. The thoughts weren't as like loud as they recently have been about competing, but they were starting to, you know, pick up some momentum, and I was like, damn, I really do want to compete again. Like, you know, thinking about it, toying with the idea, asking my boyfriend and my sister and parents for advice and whatever, and they were all like, Courtney, we want to see you compete again. So that's why I reached out to Nick. Nick Tong is my nutrition coach, Alex is my training coach, and I have 2 coaches. I could have asked Alex to do nutrition with me. I could have ditched Alex and had Nick do both with me. But I had already worked with Nick back in the day when I was competing. And so we had a little bit of a background. I knew that I trusted him in terms of nutrition. And I would have trusted Alex just as much, but I just feel like they have their like specialties, and Alex is like specialized in training and Nick is like specialized in macros, at least in my opinion. So it's kind of like I just have the best of both worlds. Also, I really talk with my hands, so ignore that. So I reached out to Nick in the beginning of April, and we started working together again. So I had told him, you know, I have this training program from Alex. This is what I'm currently doing with my nutrition. You know, I do want to lose some fat. It is summer. Like, I want to feel good. I want to look good in bikini. You know, typical, like, girl thinking when summer's coming up, you know? So that was me. That's what I wanted to do. And he was totally on board with it, and I still had some fat to lose, like, for sure, you know? So I started working with Nick in April, and now before I dive into what my macros were, what the protocol was that I was following, different kind of tactics that we implemented, and, you know, the whole 9 yards, I need you to understand that everything that I was being told to do was for me individually, you know? And what I did might not work for you. So if you just try to copy the macros that I followed, the different, you know, techniques that we implemented, the amount of cardio I was doing, if you try to just copy any of it, it's not going to work the same for you as it did for me, because we're 2 totally different individuals, you know? Everything that I'm going to share with you is just to kind of give you perspective on my situation and what I was going through. And if you want to have somebody help you determine your macros for a fat loss phase or a growing phase or anything like that, then my one-on-one coaching link is down below. I have spots open, so I will happily help you find the plan that will best suit you and your goals. So now, when I started with Nick in April, the very first thing that we did was implement 3 low days followed by 1 moderate day. So my 3 low days consisted of 150 grams of protein, 150 grams of carbs, and 40 grams of fats. Now, my moderate day was 190 grams of carbs, 150 protein, and 45 grams of fats. My weight at this time was around 145 pounds. At this time, I was also doing cardio. I was doing 3 steady state sessions a week at 30 minutes and 2 HIIT sessions a week. HIIT was composed of 8 rounds, and 1 round was 15 seconds all out sprint, basically feeling completely dead after those 15 seconds, and then followed by 45 seconds of a full recovery. So that's 1 round, and I would do that 8 times, and I did that twice a week. So I was doing cardio 5 days a week in the beginning. After about 3 weeks at that protocol of the 150 carbs as a low day and then, you know, a moderate day at 190 carbs, we ended up dropping my macros because I wasn't really seeing the weight loss that I wanted to see. So I went from having 150 carbs on my low days to having 120 grams of carbs on my low day. And then my moderate day went from 190 grams of carbs down to 160 grams of carbs. So it was a drop in calories, and my cardio stayed the same. So Nick and I pushed literally as much as we could and as extreme as we could for it to be just a lifestyle cut, you know? Like, I wasn't trying to get shredded, I wasn't trying to enter a prep or anything. I just wanted to cut for summer because I wanted to. I wanted to do it for me, because why the hell not, you know? So that is what we did, and we literally did that for as long as we could. So I was working with Nick for probably 4 to 5 weeks in terms of this dieting phase before things kind of just halted and had to stop. And the reason that we stopped this dieting phase, even though I didn't necessarily feel like I was where I wanted to be, you know, it's because my body was not responding to these lower calories and this, you know, expenditure through cardio and training and whatnot. So we pushed and we pushed and nothing was happening. So it takes a smart coach to realize that and, you know, have to have that conversation like, hey, you know, I know it sucks and I know you're not technically where you want to be yet or thought you would be during this fat loss phase. Instead of creating something out of nothing, you know, and have that something be very detrimental to my health or, you know, whatever, let's just stop. You know, there's no reason to keep pushing you. So it was about mid-May where I finally decided and had it set in stone in my head that I was going to compete again. And I remember it because it was the Kentucky Derby weekend, and there is this like Kentucky Derby show in Louisville, Kentucky, and I was seeing, you know, all the competitors on Instagram and whatnot, and I was like, fuck, this is it. I need to get back up there. Like, the itch was so strong, and I knew I needed to do it. So I told Nick that. I was like, I want to compete again. So we're fucking doing it. And he was 100% on board. And that is also another reason why I wanted to, you know, kind of stop the dieting phase when we did. Because there was no point to keep pushing myself and, you know, start creating problems internally if I didn't have to, you know, because eventually with competing, you know, that's going to be an extreme dieting phase, and I wanted to be able to set myself up for success in that phase. So we both knew that it was time to just call it quits on the cut and start reversing my calories and growing. So mid-May to the end of May, my calories were at about 1,500. I was still doing the 120 grams of carbs on my low day, 160 grams of carbs on my higher days with 150 grams of protein and 45 fats on both of those days. So from there, this is where the reverse diet started. And right off the bat, Nick upped my macros to 200 grams of carbs, 150 grams of protein, and 50 grams of fat. So that's an 80-gram carb increase and a 5-gram fat increase. And you might be thinking, what the fuck? Like, you increased by 80 grams of carbs? Yeah, we did. And I just listened to him. I didn't even think about it. I was honestly freaking thrilled because I finally had 200 grams of carbs in my day, and I could finally feel like I was eating a normal amount again, you know? So I honestly like didn't even think about it, didn't even care. I was pumped to have that many more carbs in my day. So overall, that was about a 365 calorie increase right off the bat. And then my cardio switched and I just stuck with 3 steady state sessions of LISS and no HIIT. So I was just doing 3 sessions a week, very low intensity cardio. And yeah, so I followed that protocol for about 2 weeks, and then Nick upped my macros slightly to 220 grams of carbs, and my proteins and my fats stayed the same. So that was an extra 80 calories. So from there, I followed that 220 gram protocol intake, whatever, for about another 2 weeks. And then come mid-June, we upped my macros again. So I went from 220 carbs up to 260 carbs. And that was a 40 gram carb increase for a total of another 160 calories on top of the 365 that I've already implemented and that little like 80 calorie jump up that I did. So overall, we are really bumping up the calories fast here. I was at 260 carbs for a good amount of time. I'd say probably about 3 weeks. And then towards the end of June, we upped my macros again. And this is where things started to really fucking pick up pace. And I started getting freaky strong in the gym. I started having pumps that just freaking hurt. And just feeling freaking on top of the world, honestly. So at the end of June, my macros were at 310 carbs, 150 grams of protein, and 50 grams of fats, and that's another 50 carb increase for a total of 200 calories. So as you can see, we're not taking things slow here in this reverse at all. And I'll explain why in a minute, but and my cardio also dropped at that point. I was doing 3 steady state sessions at 30 minutes and it dropped to 2 steady state sessions at 20 minutes. So I was doing a lot less cardio and eating a lot more food. So in the beginning of July, I had another increase in food, probably about 2 weeks after the other one. So now my macros were at 350 carbs, 150 protein, and 50 grams of fats. So that was another 40 grams of carbs implemented into my day. And now we are here. The end of July-ish / probably August by the time this video gets uploaded because it is July 31st right now. So now my current macros are 380 grams of carbs. I'm almost eating 400 freaking grams of carbs a day. Yeah, I know, freaking crazy. I'm sure you're jealous. And 150 grams of protein, 50 grams of fat. So that was another 30 grams of carbs, 120 calories that I added into my day. So over the course of 12 weeks, which is how long it was for this growing phase, I started about mid-May, end of May, and now so I did 2 weeks in May, about 4 weeks in June, 4 weeks in July, and now we're kind of here. So over the course of like 11, 12 weeks or so, I've increased my calories on a daily basis by 1,000 calories. At the end of my cut in mid-May, I was eating 1,500 calories, and now today, at the end of July / August, I'm eating 2,500 calories. So that's 1,000 extra calories daily. Daily, 1,000 extra calories daily. So that is the kind of like the little path that I took to get to where I'm at right now. So now, why did we jump up as fast as we did? And honestly, it's because I want to start a prep for 2020 at some point in this year. So taking things slowly would have honestly been pointless, counterproductive to the goals that I have, and just a waste of time. We want to be able to spend as much time in this growing phase as possible while keeping my body composition in check. So the whole point of a reverse diet when you are coming out of a dieting phase is not to stay as lean as possible, is not to keep your abs, is not to, you know, increase your calories and see the scale go down. Like, yeah, sure, all of those things can happen, but for me and for the goals that I have, doing that would have honestly, like I said, been counterproductive and also a big ol' waste of time. And because I want to compete again, and not just compete, but to be competitive, and I want to fucking win, because why am I going to put myself through a prep if I'm not gonna win, you know? Making sure that my body is in the most optimal spot possible in order to have a successful prep, not run into any problems during prep, and, you know, be able to, you know, showcase the best physique that I possibly can when it comes time to be back on stage. You know, that, though, all of that matters so much, which is why we went about the reverse how we did. You, personally, might not have to increase your calories that quickly. I don't think you should take your reverse stupid and painfully slow, you know, by adding like 10 grams of carbs and like a gram of fat a week. That's not going to do anything for you. And if you're going through a reverse diet with the hopes of maintaining your leanness and keeping your abs in check, like, then you're doing it for all of the wrong reasons, because a reverse diet is supposed to help you metabolically restore yourself, essentially. And if you know, manage to stay pretty lean during that, then that's cool. But it's not the goal. The goal of a reverse diet isn't to keep the leanness that you had at the end of your cutting phase. Like, that's not it, and that is just as counterproductive. So that wasn't the goal here. The goal was not to stay lean. The goal was to grow and to get fucking strong in the gym so that I can push weight and literally force my body to grow and add muscle tissue. So that's what we're doing, and so far it's been freaking great. I'm not gonna lie, like, I have gotten like freakishly strong. I honestly like PR almost every single time that I'm in the gym, and it's freaking nutty, man. Like, I've never experienced this like progression of strength as like rapidly as it is. And you know, going from a cutting phase where I, you know, would wake up and see, you know, lines and ab definition and would just feel like and feel leaner and tighter, you know, and then going through a reverse, obviously as quickly as I did, and starting to see lines fade and see your abs kind of disappear a little bit and just kind of feel larger. And honestly, like, I bought some clothes, like I bought some shorts at American Eagle in April-ish when Sam and I had just, you know, driven to Raleigh one day. Like, we just took a day trip there, and the shorts fit me perfectly. They were so nice, and I loved them. And now I put them on, and they are way too fucking tight on my legs. My butt fucking hangs out the back, and it's just not cute. It's not a cute look. And that kind of sucks. For a couple of reasons. One, because I bought those shorts and spent money on them, and now 2 months later they really don't fit and I don't feel comfortable wearing them. And two, I mean, it doesn't feel good to not feel confident and comfortable in your clothes, right? Like, nobody likes to feel that way. And so have I had days where I'm like, meh, and I don't really feel good, and I don't really feel 100% comfortable, confident, you know, in my current body? Yeah, of course. I'm not immune to it, you know, like, by any means. And I do think that in part I have a skewed perception of leanness because I have competed before and I am wanting to compete again. So I just feel like, you know, especially with being so like entrenched in all of this like fitness stuff and just, you know, absolutely loving it, it's like I really do think that my perception of leanness is a little skewed, you know, like somebody right now will probably look at me and be like, damn, like, she's lean, she's athletic, she's fit, she looks fucking great. And I do. I'm not denying that, but to me, I'm like, okay, I've put on about 10 pounds over the course of 12 weeks. Like 8, but you know, some days, whatever. About 8 to 10 pounds over the course of 12 weeks. I don't feel very lean all the time anymore, and I'm like not doing any cardio. Like, I don't feel it, but I know that to the, you know, average person like walking down the street, that I, you know, probably look like I am the most like athletic person in the world, you know? So not only are there physical shifts in going from a cutting phase to a growing phase, you know, physical as in like, yes, physical changes, but also like the physical actions that you have to take each and every day, you know, like obviously those change. You know, I had to replan my macros. I've had to, you know, just eat more food. I had to be uncomfortable when eating sometimes, you know, especially when I got those initial bumps up in my macros, like, you know, I felt full and I didn't really want to eat. I didn't really want to hit my macros. I was like, damn, like I still have like 60 carbs left. Like, fuck, like I don't want to eat anymore, you know? And over time, obviously my body adjusted to the increases in food and it got easier to eat and I would be hungry for all of my meals and things like that. But it, you know, as you're going through it, like it's not always that fucking easy. And I feel like a lot of people don't really talk about the, you know, the transition from a fat loss phase to a growing phase, because it's really not like, you know, seeing people change in like the backward sense of transformations, you know, like putting weight on is weird and people don't really gravitate towards that, you know? You see people gain weight and you're like, oh damn, like that bitch fell off her grind, huh? Like, no, I didn't fall off my grind just because I've gained weight. I'm actually more on my grind now than I think I have been ever. One, because I have the fucking energy to do it because I'm eating so much every single day. And two, it's like, I know that now being in this reverse, you know, phase, this growing phase, this improvement phase, whatever you want to call it, is my time to fucking is my time to shine, you know? This is when and where all of the improvements that I could possibly make to my physique is going to happen, so that when I do enter a prep and start to diet back down, you know, my physique is top notch and as best as it could possibly freaking be. I'm not gonna make any improvements in my physique once prep starts because I'm going to be continually lowering my calories, and you can't build adequate muscle mass as you're doing that. You know, you need to be in a surplus, you need to be eating enough, and, you know, the whole freaking 9 yards. So not only does, you know, transitioning from a cut to a reverse diet require a lot of physical shifts, you know, in your day and with, you know, everything that you do, it requires a fuck ton of mental shifts, you know? And I think that it's very important to continue to remind yourself of what you're doing and why the fuck you're doing it. And that is honestly why I think that I have had the least amount of bad body image days, but also just like days where I'm like super conscious about my body. Like it might not even be, you know, me nitpicking and like bringing myself down, but just being like conscious about it and being like, ugh, like I just like don't feel that great today. You know, I just feel large. Like I haven't had that many days like that. I've had some, yes, for sure. If you've been following me for a while, you might remember after the last show that I did in 2016, and I entered a bulk during that summer. And the summer of 2016, I bulked pretty fucking hard. And so even during that time, and now again with this, you know, cut to a bulk phase or whatever, the one thing that I always remind myself of and write down in my gratitude journal every morning and just always like think about is that I have people in my life who love me, care about me, and want me to succeed. And they feel that way about me because of who I am. My personality, my morals, you know, what I stand for, and who I am as a being. You know, the laughter that I bring them, the smiles that I bring them, the light that I bring into their world. That's why they love me. They don't feel that way about me because of the weight on the scale, or because I'm 10 pounds less, or because you see abs, or because I'm more shredded. Like, they don't fucking care about that, you know? They just want me to be doing exactly what it is that I'm doing, which is what makes me happy, you know? And so I remind myself of that all the time, and what I say to myself is, if they can continue to love me, care about me, and want me to succeed at a lower body weight and or a higher body weight, why can't I and why shouldn't I feel the exact same way about myself? You know? And just because I physically appear different, I'm still the same human being. I'm still the same Cordo, still the same girlfriend, I'm still the same sister and friend and whatever, you know? So nothing on the inside changes, and that's what you have to remember, is that you are you, and you starts within here. It's not your physical shell, you know? It's none of that. Biggest thing that I do remind myself of, like, daily is that I have goals, and I'm really fucking pumped and excited to reach these goals. Like, y'all have no idea. I haven't really talked about competing and why I want to again, and I will make a video, I promise, but like, I am so excited. I'm so excited to enter a prep and just go through the whole process. I'm so excited to step on stage again. Like, dudes, like, there's been so many times in the gym where I have, you know, maybe felt a little like unmotivated or like needed to really like hype myself up just a little bit more. And, you know, during my warm-up cardio, I have just envisioned and visualized myself back on stage, you know, in front of the judges, showcasing my physique and all of the hard work that I put in over the course of X amount of weeks. And, you know, I envision myself getting called for first call-outs and winning first place, and just allow myself to feel all of the excitement and the feelings that I remember feeling, you know, back in the day when I competed. And I've honestly brought myself to tears in the gym just thinking about it. Like, it's that exciting for me, and I feel like I'm back doing what I love to be doing, which is honestly bodybuilding, you know. And for the 3 years that I kind of just was living my life and intuitively eating and this, that, the other thing, like, I was still doing what I love. Like, I love working out, and I love nutrition and eating healthy foods and just fueling my body, you know, but bodybuilding is what really, like, sparked my passion for fitness and nutrition from the beginning, you know. And the goals that I have are so freaking strong that it's like, I will do whatever I have to do to be competitive and to win, you know. So if that means increasing my daily food intake by 1,000 calories and watching myself gain weight, then fucking so be it. Because I know that whatever the results are from me putting the work in on a daily basis and executing the plan that I have in place as perfectly as I can every single day, like, that's the shit that makes me feel good. You know, when I go back and I'm like, oh, check, 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 and I make sure that I did all the things I know I need to do. You know, it's kind of like whatever the results are from me doing that, so be it, you know? I would rather embrace this larger, fluffier, less defined version of myself now and just appreciate it for what it is. And, you know, because eventually I'm not gonna feel this way, and eventually my body's going to change again, and eventually I'm going to be shredded, and eventually I'm going to not have energy, you know, on a daily basis, and eventually I'm gonna be like fucking hungry. And so why not just embrace the phase that I'm in right now, you know? Because I know that eventually it is going to come to an end. There's pros and cons, you know, to both of these phases. And, you know, for example, like, the pros to a fat loss is getting shredded, because that's fucking fun. It's a challenge. You don't feel so uncomfortably full, and you get to kind of see yourself change on a daily basis. You learn a lot about yourself and your capabilities, you know, and just like the strength that you really do truly have, and the willpower that you have that you might not even think that you have, you know. And then the cons to a fat loss phase, I mean, you're tired, you're hungry, you can't really get a good pump in the gym, your hormones might start going out of whack, probably a little bit more food focus, your mental, like, clarity starts to get fogged, you don't really hit PRs in the gym. Having gone through a reverse diet and being in this growing phase, you know, some of the pros are just that I'm fucking strong, I get these nasty pumps in the gym. I have more energy on a daily basis. I have more flexibility when it comes to the foods that I can eat and want to eat. My mental clarity is here and I'm focused, and I sleep like a freaking rock. You know, but then there's also cons to this growing phase too. Sometimes I feel very full. I feel very full. Like, I have to eat about 5 meals a day, at least 5 meals a day, and they're big meals. They're not like, they don't really get that much smaller as the day goes on. Like, they're just big meals, and I am usually pretty fucking full, and I don't really like to feel that way. I'd rather feel like 80% full, you know? Honestly, sometimes eating feels like a chore, and that sucks. I literally eat because I have to, and that sucks. And even though I have more energy, so that I am kind of like naturally just more active throughout my day, and I will go for more walks and things like that, I'm also a lot less active because I have a lot less programmed cardio in my day, and my output isn't as much, you know? So there's pros and cons to both, and like I said, it's like you always want what you can't have. And I think it's really important to, one, realize that you cannot go through a cutting phase for eternity. Like, there has to be a point where it ends, or else you're never going to grow and be able to change your physique, you know? The reasons why you see people go through a cut and then a bulk and then a cut and then a bulk and then a cut and then a bulk and just go through these cycles is because you can't really reach your end goal just during one cycle of that. You can cut and cut and cut and cut, and you might not even reach where you really want to be during that one cutting phase. And you're not going to be able to improve your physique if you are so low on calories still. So you have to start implementing more calories and get yourself up to this maintenance point and this surplus. It's during these phases where you are eating more and eating enough to actually improve your physique and add muscle mass to it, you know? So if you want to grow your glutes or have bigger delts or whatever it is, like, you're gonna have to go through a growing phase in order for that to happen. You know, you're going to have to push yourself and get uncomfortable and eat, you know, probably past the natural comfortable level you typically do eat at, you know? And so every single day I remind myself that I have these goals, and there's nothing that I will allow stop me from reaching them. So I'm not going to, you know, go and scroll Instagram and start comparing the way that I look right now to somebody who might be cutting, or to just somebody who's naturally leaner than I am right now, you know? It's because I know that I have these goals in place for myself. I am excited as fuck to tackle these goals and accomplish them. And I'm going to do whatever it is that I have to do to get there. And it's like, I'm in my own kind of like fitness lane, I'm in my own fitness journey, and I don't really care what anybody else is doing, because this is what I'm doing. And I'm really, really happy doing what I'm doing. So even though I might not always feel so confident or so pleased with my body, and you know, still have days where I'm like, I kind of feel like a frump, you know? Like, it just kind of is what it is. But what I've learned is how to get myself out of that mindset when I do start beating myself up and start critiquing my body for the way that it looks right now. So the one message that I'm here to spread through this video is that you have to set goals for yourself, first of all. And you have to set goals that you are so goddamn excited to reach that you will do whatever it takes for you to do it. And you'll deal with feeling a little bit uncomfortable, because you know in the end, you're gonna feel freaking great, and you're not gonna feel uncomfortable, and you're gonna feel accomplished and proud of yourself and rep all the benefits of going through this uncomfortable phase, you know? And the second thing is to just appreciate where you currently are at in your fitness journey. Whether you're in a cutting phase, whether you're in this maintenance mode, whether you're in a growing phase, they all have their own pros and cons, and we could talk about them for hours. That it's always you want what you can't have. So just appreciate where you are right now, and don't think about your physical appearance, but rather think about what it is your body is doing during these different phases, you know? I pushed my body super freaking hard during a cutting phase, and I'm pushing it pretty freaking hard now in the opposite way during this growing phase. but I'm still pushing it, and it's still carrying me every single day and thriving, and that's all I can really ask for, you know, and it just feels good. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This was like my first kind of like sit down talk video since I've like made my little like YouTube comeback. So I hope that it wasn't too rambly. I hope I got my point across. I hope I answered any questions that y'all may have had. And yeah, I mean, if you do have any questions, please don't hesitate to leave me a comment below, or comment, or, you know, DM me on Instagram. You know, I'd love to answer them and share some more about what I'm going through. And I'm not obviously in a prep yet, but I do think that I'll probably start a little like prep series when I am, because it's going to be my first time prepping in 3 years, and it's going to be my first time stepping on stage in 4. So it's going to be really, really cool. I want to bring you guys along for that journey and just share everything with you, because it's going to be pretty new, you know? I mean, I haven't done it in a very long time, so it's going to be like a new experience for me. Sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I getting myself into? Just thinking about all the things that a prep entails from a physical and mental standpoint. But it's gonna be fun, and I'm really happy that you're here along for the ride. If you like this video, if you like me, then give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.